The organisational structure of the Innovation Workspace is most commonly known as the simple structure, also referred to as the organisational circle or the flat structure. This structure is very flat with just 2 or 3 layers in their hierarchy. It is very common in small businesses like the Innovation Workspace who are not large enough to have different departments. There are both advantages and disadvantages to the simple structure. Some advantages are that it allows for fast and clear communication amongst all staff. The manager has a wide span of control, meaning all employees get their information straight from the top, so everyone is receiving the same information and there is no confusion. This structure also allows for decisions to be made faster, as there are fewer levels of management that the decision has to be passed by. It is also found that staff who work under this organisational structure are more productive as they are more involved in the decision-making process, which gives them a sense of importance. Disadvantages of this structure are that all staff, especially at the top, have a very large workload. This can be very difficult as each staff member is generally working on one department, meaning that they don't really have other staff members to help them. A disadvantage would also be that if something is wrong with the leader of the organisation, such as them being sick, the company has no one to fall back on. A functional organisation is when the company is divided into segments based on their roles or functions. This organisational structure is very common in larger businesses and helps them to run to the best of their abilities. There are both advantages and disadvantages to the functional structure. Advantages of this organisational structure is that each segment is led by someone who is specialised in that area, who can review and help with their staff's work. There is a chance of being promoted within your field, as there are different levels of staff within each segment. This is a very efficient way of running a business as staff have a limited number of tasks within their specialised area. Disadvantages of this organisational structure are that if the business grows too big, the functional segments will become very difficult to manage. They can also become very involved in their own work and focus on them rather than the goals of the company. These two organisational structures are very different, mainly due to the fact that the functional structure is most commonly seen in larger businesses and the simple structure is most commonly seen in small businesses. The functional and simple organisational structures are also very different when it comes to how organic or mechanistic they are. They both have elements from each, but the simple structure is much more organic. Generally, it is a much less rigid structure which focuses more on personal relationships. It is also more decentralised as they make decisions together, whereas in the functional structure, decisions are made at the top. It also has a much wider span of control than the functional structure, as it has a much shorter hierarchy and chain of command. This does not mean that the simple structure is better than the functional. Rather, they both take elements from organic and mechanistic organisations to create a structure that works best for their needs.